to my line. This is uh actually my first live on YouTube, and I'm building my stage on this platform. Um but before I do that, um I do want people to know exactly who I am, um and establish a rapport with the people that I speak with. So here we go. I am going to take you on a journey. Um, I am going to express my testimonies. Um, and the first journey I think I really want to talk about is the journey with my moms. My mother, um, she had a stroke, and during the process, everybody was into their own feelings. Um, some of my siblings were still working. I had one sibling; she was disabled. Um, I'm the baby of the family, and like I said, everybody had carried their own emotions during that time. Um, my feeling towards it was devastation. Um, but anyway, before my mother had her stroke, it was a week before I graduated from the college in Russia. Um, During that period, like I said, a week later, she had a stroke. Then we had to go into the decision, um, where my mother was going to be placed at, whether it was going to be with one of my other siblings, or um, we knew that we did not want her in a facility. And at that time, I didn't have an apartment. Um, yeah, we're gonna go deep into this story. Um, but when I tell you that God works in mysterious ways, He does, and He's always on time. So during that period when she had her stroke, she had to go into a rehabilitation place first. She went into rehabilitation, which I did not like how they handled their work at all. Um, and I remember she had her stroke during that week, and then that following week, I received a letter for Section 8. Now, here's the funny thing. I applied for that Section 8 like 15 years ago before I received the letter stating that um, they wanted me to come in for an interview. I also um, got hired I had to take the test to be a social worker. And I passed the test, I passed the interview. The interview is like um, psych questions. If a child is left home, It's the weekday. Um, you as a social worker, um, what would be your initial first question or whatever? But it's like how they got it situated. It's a trick question. But I knew that the child, first of all, the child shouldn't have been home by itself during the afternoon on a weekday that the child should have been at school. So that's part of the test. So I got hired. Um, as I said, I went home and the letter for Section 8 came in. Went for my interview. Now, mind you, my mother's still in the rehabilitation place. From there, I received the letter to pick up my package. Picked up the package, found an apartment within a week. My mother was in the rehabilitation place for maybe about 4 months. Then it was making the decision on when she was going to be able to come home. Okay. I spoke to the social worker, and I never forget what this social worker said to me. He said, pulled me in the hallway and said to me, "You are not going to be able to handle this situation." And I said, "What?" He said, "You're not going to be able to handle your mother." I looked him dead in the eye and I said, "You know what? That may be your feelings, but that's my mother, and I'm going to take her home." Sure enough, like I say, God works in mysterious ways. I was able to get an apartment in a house. And in Justina's house, we were on the first floor. So when I'm telling you, when God take a hold of of a situation, you make the steps and the effort, He make everything fall in domino effect, and that's exactly what happened. I brought my mother home. At this time, I had to deny the job. I denied the job because of my mother for the social work. Then I was able to get a job as a substitute teacher, which I knew the hours wasn't going to accumulate no more than over 6 to 8 hours. I had home aides to come there. But when you're taking care of a parent, it's just like when the parent was taking care of the child. You got to make sure things are in order. Um, I had several other attendants come. They weren't doing their job. My mother was a diabetic. She had to eat at certain hours. I always made sure they had a listing of her breakfast, her lunch. Didn't have to worry about dinner because I would be home by then, and her snacks. A few times I came home early than what they expected. One incident, the girl was laid up on my couch, got the charger in there, chilling. My mother way in the back. Um, Even if she screamed for her, she can't hear because she got the things in her ear, and she just chilling on the couch. When I came into that house and I saw her chilling on my couch, I told her to take her shit and get out my house. Then I had another one came to my house. The whole time I'm sitting up there and I'm observing her. She just sitting. So I asked her, I said, "Are you gonna fix my mother breakfast?" She didn't know what to fix my mother or none of that. It was time for her to leave. So I asked her, I said, "Did you change my mother or check to see if she need changing before you leave?" Yeah, 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 yeah. I don't want this to sound as nasty as it was, but this is exactly what it was. Nasty. I go in the back and I'm saying, I still smell poop. I smell poop. Do you know that woman left there just because she didn't want to clean it? And if she needed assistance, I was there. But instead of her doing that, she left my mother with bowel movement all up and down the sheets. I was furious. When you when I say I was furious, I was furious. Wherein I wanted to literally go down the street and look for her. That's how furious I was. So anyway, I got my mother cleaned up. At this time, now it done got to the point I need to make a decision whether to keep my job or to stay home with my mom. That's what I ended up doing because people would come in there and it just wasn't to my expectation. Then came along a young lady that I loved so much. Her name was Diane. Diane have her own kids and stuff now. This young lady came to my house. I taught her how I wanted my mother's linen, because I liked it, my mother's linen crispy. I liked it, my mother's linen change at least twice out the day. You had to put down the chuck, which is the hospital chuck, and you had to put a chuck over top of it. I learned how to do these things because I didn't know nothing about none of this stuff. When I went to the hospital to pick her up after her stroke, they taught me everything I needed to know in one day. How to use the lift and everything. Okay. I taught Diane everything I knew in one day. I taught her how to fix my mother's breakfast, how to, what time to give her her lunch, what to give her for lunch because she was a diabetic. Diane would get in the kitchen and learn how I wanted her dinner. When I tell you this girl was a sweetheart, she was a sweetheart. I taught it to her one day. And I told her how to taught her how to transfer and everything from the bed to the wheelchair. And I told Diane, I said, Diane, do not ask me how to do this tomorrow. I said, because I want my rest. Because at that time, I was taking my master program online. So after the day was over and it was a bit quiet, because my mother would usually go to sleep about 9 o'clock, 9, 10 o'clock. And then from there, I would get into doing my work online. So anyway, Diane came in that next day, and she must have been having a little trouble transferring my mother from the bed. I mean, from the bed to the wheelchair. To the wheelchair. So she came tipping in my room, and the door was cracked a little bit. And Diane said, "Miss G, Miss G." And I raised my head up and I looked at her. I gave her that look like, didn't I tell you not to ask me nothing? Nothing when you came in. And she said, okay, 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 okay. She said, never mind, never mind, never mind. So after she left the door, she went back into the room. And I stood beside my mother's room and I'm looking at her. And she transferred her perfectly. Ever since that day, it was a go. I knew God had brought the right person into my life to help me. And Diane was a tremendous helper. I will always praise that girl till I leave here, my last breath. But anyway, so now it seemed like I finally found the right person, the supportive person, the one who don't mind reaching their hand, even though they're getting paid. Diane had became a family member. She was so comfortable. She became part of the family where she was staying over all night. She's coming for holidays. On her days off, she's coming. My mother went to the hospital a few times. She came and visit. This is the person that I owe so much gratitude to because her love was her support, which became love, was sincere. And you don't find that too much. Um, so as the time went on, I want to make this kind of short and brief. And I'm surprised at myself not ran down with tears. Um, anyway, my mother had a second stroke. Um, which I thank God for because um my mother left before the C-19 hit. Um, but anyway, the reason why I'm thankful in that area because I don't know what I would have done um, if they had told me that I could not have seen my mother during that period of time. I also want to give a shout out to those who lost their parents during that time, whether it was parents, kids, a family member, um, I want to give you a shout out. So when the C-19 hit, oh, let me rewind it back a little bit, a bit. Um, I do want to be grateful to my moms in a sense because during that time that my mother had her stroke, um, I was able to administrate 3 books during that time. One of my books were "Why Do I Think I Need You?" Um, "Why Was I Born?" and a children's book. And how I stumbled across that was I was sitting at home one day and I just started writing um, on my computer. And I looked at the writing and I said, wow, this could actually be a book. And that's exactly what happened. It was administrated into a book. And that's how I started writing. But we're going to fast forward. And like I said, my mother passed. It was a lot on me at that time when my mother passed. Um, I moved to Charlotte. And I've stayed down in Charlotte for about 2 years. When I came back, because the struggle was real, um, hmm, I was having such a hard time. Um, I'm not the type person who have kids or have that real support. Um, that support, but I don't like support wherein you feel like you're you you're being supportive, but you're disciplining me, you're diminishing my value, um, or you want to do it, but you're giving me that expression like you really don't want to do it. that's that's not sincere support to me. But anyway, when I came back up here, I'm trying to think. When I came from North Carolina, oh, I ended up uh, staying with a friend slash sister, and you know, I understand she has her situation too. She in a relationship or whatever, and you don't want to feel like you're bothering on someone's space, even though she has never given me that initial thought. But if she did, she would express it. But anyway, then I ended up, I believe I went to, yeah, after that, I think I went to my niece's house. I'm going to jump over that. That's for another day. Then I believe I came to Jersey. Yeah, I did. I had found myself in a situation, I found myself in a homeless situation. Out of all the years of my life, I found myself in a homeless situation. Not when I was in the street, actually physically in the street, but I was still homeless. Okay. So me and my guy, we decided to go to Greensboro. At that time, we thought it was capable. We had um, income coming in due to the unemployment. Um, so when I got to Greensboro, we stayed with some of his people for a minute. And his people, grandkids, were coming to visit like they usually do. So we left from there and we ended up in an extended stay. So worse. But I kept filling out the applications and I'm wondering and I'm saying to myself, why can't I get an apartment? Something said, pull your credit report. So that's what I did. When I pulled the report, now mind you, when I was in Charlotte, I left. But before I left, I went into the office and I asked them, was there anything that I owe before I leave this property? I was told no. So when I got the report, I'm saying to myself, what is this on my report for $900? Come to find out, they had added the water, the trash, and all this other stuff. Now, mind you, I never got my security deposit back. So why do I owe anything? Well, anyway, in the state of North Carolina, and this is for anybody, if you move to the state of North Carolina, and I don't know about any other state, but I know about North Carolina state, if you get removed from the property for any reason, non-payment of rent, which is a dispossess, if you owe anything, you will not get an apartment in North Carolina unless you get fortunate enough to find someone to rent you their house. And now that may have the criteria for that may have even changed. They're probably going by credit report too. So anyway, I paid the 900 and something dollars because I want this over and done and I want to be able to get an apartment. Took it off my credit report. I said, okay, I can go back and I can get into an apartment now. That thing didn't do nothing for me at that time. I could not get an apartment. Ended up in an extended stay, which is like a small studio. You have your stove, you have your refrigerator, you have the bed, the bathroom, and a small area that you can consider a den. Paying $500 a month. You do the math, that's 2000 a month. We're not even talking about cosmetics. We're not even talking about um, funds to get back and forth. We just not talking about the little tedious things that may come up. Did this for a whole year and just was drowned in more than succeeded. Everything that you could think that can be possibly wrong went wrong. So I called up here and I talked to my sister. And she said, "Why don't you just come on back and stay in the basement?" And I did. When my sister said PA, I'm thinking PA, not Philly. When I get to Philly, we stayed down there. It didn't work out. So we ended up staying back into a hotel. And guys, when I tell you that it has been a rough journey, it has been a rough journey. I'm still not into an apartment. It's been several years. People can say what they want to say, but they're not on this journey. Um, it's just been rough. But I still continue to have this smile on my face. I don't have to lie. Um, as you can see, I'm in a hotel. Okay. I don't have to lie. I don't have to lie about nothing I say. Um, and it's just been rough. I tried to have a good outlook on everything. And when things seems like they trying to challenge me, I pray to my God because I keep God in the midst of everything I do. Even at the failure part, I'm gonna keep God in the midst of it. And He covers me. I done had people to manage to put bad things on my name. The people that I've supported all their lives, been a listening ear all their lives, became the worst I have ever thought they would be. And I still, matter of fact, I, I guarantee you, a lot of people couldn't handle what I done been through. No way. And still be able to smile? Nah, I doubt it. I doubt it so much. And I'm not saying that it's anybody's fault. I'm not saying that I want a sympathy drum roll. I'm not looking for that. I am not looking for that. Matter of fact, I'm a firm believer that God puts you on a journey and you have to sit back and absorb it and notice it. You have to continue with faith if nothing else matters. Faith matters. And sometimes he wants you to see what's going on. And he knows the only way that you're going to connect the dots is to have these blocks. Every time you go this way, he blocking it. Go that way, he blocking it. But you don't know. He might be blocking you from something else. So you have to stay humble. You have to stay humble and just go through the tasks. Um, I don't sit and I don't say, "Oh God, why is this happening to me? Oh Lord, I'm ever since I've been going through this, I have never went with those emotions. I always go with the emotions praying to my father. Um, and that's what I hold on to. Do I want that feeling of being able to unlock my door, being able to take something and make it a home? Yes, of course I do. Who wouldn't? But like I said, it's just certain obstacles that I'm going through, and I just keep pushing. Um, One of the things I'm focusing on right now is to be a great creator, an influencer. Um, and even with some of the distractions, I'm still pushing through and hoping to get that exposure. Um, I mainly say this for people who may run across this live. If you're going through something, don't give up. Don't look for the faults and whys and the who and the what. Don't look for that. Look for him. Look for him. Um, don't worry about what people gonna say with that. Because people gonna talk either way it go. People just gonna talk. That's just them. Get around some people who gonna support you. Get around people who's going to love up on you. Get around people who's going to set that tone to put you in the right direction. Because I notice sometimes too, people will try to hinder you if you're around the wrong people. Get around people that's not gonna you're falling and then they just want to knock you on the floor. Meditate, pray. Because like I said, prayers do wonders. When I say God is so good, He is so good. And like I said, even with me not having a home, but He still keep me covered, I still thank Him. I still thank Him. Um, and it's easy for somebody to say, "Oh, you should be able to do this. You should be able to." First of all, in the society that we live in right now, it's hard for a person with two, three incomes coming in their home to manage. Imagine just one person. Just imagine one person. If I went out there right now, and if I'm not bringing in at least 6 or 7K, I'm still struggling if I'm only bringing 2K in. Most apartments right now are going for, I'm talking about a decent apartment. I'm not talking about something that may be a hole in the wall, because even a hole in the wall right now might run you about 15 to 1600. And I'm a single person and I get an apartment for $2,000. Where am I going? If you're not getting Section 8, if you don't have Section 8 or some type of program, where am I going? Do I have to humiliate myself to get into a single shelter? A single woman shelter? Can you imagine? When you have kids, you may have a better chance. But a single woman shelter, sleeping on you don't know what and who been on it, that right there is mental, like a mental torture by itself. Who wants to be subjected to that? Someone who's not used to being around that. Some people have mental issues. Some people have you're exposing yourself to a lot. So this is the thing that I had to like do a real observation wherein people, when they think small, if you really think about it, people work years and years and pour all their sweat and hard work into a job. See, because everything that we own is illusion. It's just an illusion. You can't take none of this stuff with you. They work 40, 50 years. Now it's time to retire. Some can't walk, some in a wheelchair, some don't do nothing but stay at home, enjoy the chat. I'm gonna leave that right there on the plate. Right there. Wealth and struggle is two different things. Wealth is when you can go anywhere you want to in this world and you ain't got to worry about nothing being taken care of. It's just it automatically gonna be paid. That's wealth. But struggle is different. See, struggle, you just going round and around and around in circles, doing the same thing every 2 weeks or every week. You're doing the same thing. You're paying a bill, you're paying a bill, you're getting cosmetics, you're getting a little few food in the house, put a little $100 savings, and you go back and do the same thing all over again. But wealth, you don't have to worry about savings. Or wealth, when you take $20,000 and you just invested it and you lost it, but you ain't even worried about it. That's wealth. And the only way that you're going to be able to preserve that wealth or have that type of wealth, you better have a plan. You better be able to expand your horizon. Because most of us are working for somebody else. And what I mean by somebody else, whether it be your children or whatever, because you done broke yourself down so bad during those processes of the years, and you get ready to retire, you might enjoy it for a little while, but if anything happens to happen to you, it's going to your children or it's going back to the state or the government. Ain't that clever? See, 'cause what most of y'all don't realize during the emancipation, all this was structured. See, because you used to work for free. Our ancestors worked for free for their housing, their meals, and their water. They work for free. So when our culture wanted their freedom, say, go ahead, give them their freedom. We're gonna design something so fantastic to them, they think they winning. And they did. They structured something wherein it seemed like you're winning, but you're not winning. And I can go a little deeper into it, but I'm gonna leave it there. Because I gotta add on a little bit at a time. A little bit at a time. The thing about people, they have to rewire their thinking. Because nothing we have been told is the truth. And there's so much access to the truth that we should be able to unwind and learn something different, learn to think different. I appreciate these platforms so much. Um, because I too, matter of fact, let's just say there's never, you will never learn it all because there's too much to learn. Never. Um, and I think that's what they fear the most about these platforms. People are learning. So, as I stated, I did this live because I want to be able to come on here and be my authentic self. I want to be able to learn the people who subscribe to my channel. We're going to have fun. We're going to see um, some of my skills manifest in different ways. I do not have a niche. I don't want a niche um, because I just feel as though I have um, multiple skills that I can utilize on this channel. So you will not just be seeing one niche. Um, and to all that this live reach out to, my hopes are for you to subscribe to my channel and get to know just so at this point, I am going to say goodnight. God bless you and keep on striving.